À l'occasion de la 64e édition du Festival international de télévision de Monte Carlo, on a eu au micro Taylor Hoechlin, qui est présent avec ses collègues de la série Teen Wolf, qui a joué le rôle de Derek Hale pendant plusieurs années. Hi Tyler.
Hello, how are you?
So good, thanks. For someone who had never seen Teen Wolf, how would you pitch the show?
How would I pitch the show? Oh my God.
You haven't answered that question since
No,
like
no, definitely not. I actually don't even know if I was asked that when we were making the show. I mean, I would pitch it in the sense of don't let the title fool you. I think that there's something in the show for everybody, and I think that's kind of what people have discovered over the years. It's not a show just for teens. I think it's a show for people who are, either feel like outsiders or feel like they're finding themselves. I mean, there's so many themes that we address in the show, that just life experiences. I think people want to feel like they're not alone, and I think the show did a very good job of addressing things that are areas in life where people feel like maybe I'm the only one going through this, and we do a good job of showing like no, this is something very human to go through, and even though these characters are sometimes human, sometimes something more than that or different than that, there's a connectedness of these experiences they go through. So.
And now for someone who did see the show, where do you see Derek if he had arrived, obviously, nowadays? Like
Yes.
living a regular life or still stuck with the supernatural?
Well, I think after the movie, I would say if I had to guess, I think Derek is probably trying to figure out where he may or may not be. That would be my best guess.
You had some very intense physical scenes during the show. Is there one you think, oh no, I wouldn't redo this today?
Probably like being thrown into walls and things like that. I think like when you're younger. I mean, I don't know. I say that now, but if there was a Born Identity or Mission Impossible-esque role, and they were like, "We need you to go into that wall." I'm like, yeah, great, sweet, let's do it. So I can't say that necessarily, but there are certain things that back then you look at and go like, "Man, we did a lot. We did a lot. That was it was intense." But I was always very proud of that. I've always enjoyed stunts. I played sports as a kid. I did gymnastics as a kid. So for me, it was always something that was very fun to participate in, and I've always enjoyed that. I've enjoyed working with the stunt team and the coordinators and everybody. So yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I'd look back at now and be like, nah, let's not do that. I think I'm pretty proud of what we did.
Is there a specific character you wish Derek had shared more scenes with?
I mean, all of them. I enjoy working with everybody. Really, we have such a special cast. So can't work with everybody all the time. So I think. Like there's nobody that I worked with too much. It's not like I had anybody I was like, I'll take less scenes with them. So yeah, I think the answer is honestly all of them. We just had such a special group. It was a blessing.
Well, 4 seasons and the movie for you. Is there one day on set you wish you could relive because it was special, or just because the scene itself was very, maybe emotional?
I would say almost any of the finales, because the finales you did get almost everybody on set. So those days were really special because everybody's there, and you may not be shooting the whole time, but you have time to hang out with people, when you're not needed, and everybody's kind of rotating in and out, and so it's like this big group effort to finish the season. So I always enjoyed those.
Did you steal or borrow something from the set?
I may have been given something to take home, yes. I may have Derek's jacket, which was always very special because, I always imagined that was his father's jacket. It was something that he was able to hold on to, and so that was a really special piece to keep.
Was there a version of Derek, like Alpha Derek or Teacher Derek, that you enjoyed more acting or playing?
I think season 2, Derek at the beginning was probably the most fun to play. I think he was just enjoying what he had going on a little too much, which is always a fun place to be as a character. But I also really enjoyed season 4, Derek kind of really settling into a comfort with who he was, and accepting himself for who he was, and really being able to be at peace with his place and everything, and his role and everything, and not feeling like he needed something more to be enough. I think that was like one of the big storylines that I really appreciated with Derek in the 4th and final season for him. Yeah.
How was the creative aspect of your character? Did you give some inputs or on the development or such?
I don't know about development, but there's always a collaborative process of discussing things that come up in the scripts and going back to the writer and Jeff Davis, our showrunner, and asking hey, like where's this coming from, where's it going, what are we doing, and just trying to wrap your head around it. So there's always a process in that, but I wouldn't say we weren't in the writer's room or anything. Yeah.
Were you expecting the TV movie to come out? Because there were talks at the end of the show already, but did you think, oh yes, it will happen?
I don't know if I was definitively on the side of it will happen, but I think I always felt like there was going to, I don't know. The show is as good as we would have felt about the show ending and, the fandom that it had kind of created. I don't know that any of us expected the growth of the show to continue the way that it has. I want to say like around 2020, I believe there was like a big resurgence of the show and a whole new audience found it, which was great. And it seems like that's kind of continued on. It seems like it's a show that just continues to be, word of mouth on social media. And so, very special to be a part of something that continues to find a new audience even now.
You attend conventions as well. So what's the
we're to Comic-Con, yeah.
What's the weirdest question you've been asked?
Probably to give the bite. I would say that. I'd say so. I'd say anytime it comes to any kind of like a physical thing, that's always borderline. Like that's not even borderline. It's past the border. It's past the line. It's past the line. We've never done that. We won't do that. But that's about as weird as it gets.
I have to ask about Superman, obviously.
Yeah.
So you went from a tortured werewolf to the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So what did you learn from one role that you maybe put into the other?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that I necessarily took anything directly from Derek to that. They do have a lot of similarities, weirdly enough. But I wouldn't say that I took anything that's, you kind of have to approach it completely differently. So I always felt like I had a really good understanding of who Clark was. And that's really what I focused on. And I just enjoyed, again, I was very lucky. In TV, you feel like sometimes you can kind of get stuck doing the same thing over and over again. That can happen. And with Teen Wolf and with Superman and Lois both, each season really was a standout journey for the characters. So I always enjoyed the evolution of the characters through the process.
If Derek had Superman's powers for one day, what would he do?
Ooh. I can't say that. So you put out fires. I'd probably say that. But no, I'd like to think that it depends if it was season 2 Derek or season 4 Derek. Season 4 Derek, I think, would have acted a lot like Superman does with his powers. Yeah, season 2 Derek, I don't know if I want to think about that too much.
What has been the hardest to play? Clark Kent or Superman?
I don't know that I would frame it that way. I think that they both come with their responsibilities, but I wouldn't say they're kind of one and the same. So I mean probably the physical aspect of it, but just like physically having to be in that kind of shape for the role, which is both Clark and for Superman. I'm a much different size when I do that. I have to put on a lot of weight for that. So I would say probably that. But I don't know. I enjoyed the responsibilities of each character. So I don't know that I necessarily found any of them to be, challenging and more in the sense of just figuring out that scene. There's technical scenes, there's emotional scenes, and those are always just their own kind of challenge to be able to get to that place. So,
Well, talking about responsibility, I have to say I have some friends who
Yeah.
are hardcore Superman fans.
Yeah.
And for them, you're the top-notch Clark Kent.
Oh my God! Well, thank you. That's
and
very
in the
kind
top
of them.
3 Superman. So.
Okay, hey, I'll take it. I will take that. I will take that any day.
And when you got the role, you must have realized all the responsibility surrounding these characters. So how did you approach that?
I just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, I focused on what I knew I had to do, which was, play this character. So to me, it was not making him anything more than just another character. Like that's really what it was. It's, for me, I never saw him as someone who saw himself as this bigger than life person. It's just him. So just kind of approached it that way and not making him into anything more than that and putting him on a pedestal. I think that was probably the biggest key thing that I did.
And just to wrap this up, what's the TV show that you would recommend? Well, the last TV show you've really enjoyed and you would recommend?
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, okay.
Peaky Blinders. Can't wait for the movie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.